So Malthi, welcome to Growth Circle. Would love to start with a quick intro.
20 years I've been building tech products, B2B space, enterprise, B2C. Few years back, I worked with companies like SAP Labs, Intuit, PayPal, Society Generale. And I think in the last few years, the startup bug bit me as well. And while last 7-8 years I've been mentoring a lot of startups, I decided that, probably this is something that I could take full time. Yeah. And I think somewhere I also felt in my day job as I moved up the ladder, my creativity quotient was not getting enough opportunities to, bloom. So that is the reason that I took up. So last 3 years, I run a boutique consulting firm, product consulting firm called SparkProd. I do a variety of things. One is definitely I work with startups, help them their product strategy, GTM strategy, because that was the gap which I saw, right? When I was in working in my day job, I saw that there are so many new startups which are coming up, and there is this gap which I could help them by setting up their product teams, helping finish their product strategy, their go-to-market strategy as they scale up. Because when you're doing something 0 to 1 versus what it takes 10 to 100 journey is very different. So having managed large teams, those are the areas where I could see that I could add value for the startups. Beyond that, I love teaching. So I teach at B schools, I do corporate trainings, and whenever I find time, I do my own podcast, which is called Product Talk with Malthi. So those are a few different things that I do as part of SparkProd. I think as an entrepreneur, definitely we all start with a lot of motivation. We all start with some, really bright ideas. At least in our mind, we think, we are kind of going to change the world. We are going to make the difference. But it takes a lot to every single day get up, stay that motivated, telling yourself, are you good enough, right? So for me, I have always worked in large companies. Resource has never been a constraint. Budget has never been a big challenge unless I'm asking for something really big. So there was a defined scope. I worked on a certain set of skills. But when I became an entrepreneur, I realized that, from the errand girl to the CEO, I'm everything, right? And I'm largely a solopreneur except for a couple of interns working with me. So first of all, accepting that you don't have those kind of resources. I think that was number one. Number two, I am not somebody who's done a lot of marketing, sales. And if you are an entrepreneur, you need to understand how business operates. You really need to go and sell it out there. You really need to know how to pitch your product, your services. And it takes a lot of ego bashing, right? To say that, yes, I want to do that. So with me, if you ask me, for example, there are areas which I know comes like a breeze to me, right? Even in a sleep, I can do it. But I remember after I left my job and I did my first cohort of, training, I think I didn't slept for so many days when I was putting the content together. And I remembering walking into that B school classroom, like, can I really do it? Can I really do it? It was hard. Every now and then I've been kind of dabbling with a lot of different things, doing a podcast, doing some event, and I have had my own challenges. I'm constantly looking at, I don't understand social media really well. Can I really do it? I have never made reels. Can I really do it? I have never, sold a podcast episode to a sponsor. Can I really do it? So imposter syndrome is real. I think the only way one can mitigate is constantly motivating yourself, saying that, if I have done this far, I can do better.
Yeah.
Right? And surround yourself with people who bring in that positive energy to you. I would say, please do not shy away from sharing your vulnerabilities. Ask for help. Right? When I'm been stuck up, I've reached out to you saying that, hey, Sindhu, how do you manage it?
Yeah.
Right? Believe me, there is one person, every single person out there knows something which you don't know. This is a very, very powerful, which I read somewhere. So ask for help and collect yourself morning every day and say that, this is a new day. This is a new thing. I am going to try it out. But at the same time, if you feel, if the universe is giving you signals, maybe this is not working out. Maybe you don't want. It is okay to pivot. Just because you had a hypothesis, just because you thought this will work, it is not necessary that it has to work. Your customers will tell you, your stakeholders will tell you. So listen to that. But don't shy away from doing it. And believe me, just because it did not work for somebody, I remember when I started my podcast, some very few people told me, distribution is very difficult to crack. But today I am 1 year down the line with close to 2,000 subscribers and growing fast, right? So don't let somebody else judge your capability. Be your own judge. But at the same time, be very receptive to feedbacks.
A couple of rapid fire questions. Who is your role model?
I have tons of them, but I think the most recent, I would say, I think to start with, I really want to give it to my mom. My mom has been like super multifaceted lady. Yeah. Very, very hardworking. So she's my first role model anytime. But I think one person I really admire is Indra Nui, right?
Yeah.
I'm just amazed. I know she has made a lot of compromises, and I have my own opinion when we say, can women have it all? But I would say Indra Nui.
Yeah, very nice. Can women have it all, Malthi?
I think you need to be kind to yourself, saying that there is nothing like superwoman, but you can definitely have all that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And one message to women entrepreneurs.
I think just get started. Don't wait for that perfect day, that perfect time when it is, because there is nothing like perfect day, perfect time. You have to take a calculated risk. You have to get started. So maybe start small, start exploring, start experimenting, share your ideas with others, see if there is a market out there, see if people would be interested, why people should come to you, what is your differentiator, what is the kind of support you need in order to get things done. I love the way, for example, you have done Growth Circle, being very nimble, take feedback, being very iterative. But I would say if you have the itch, just go for it. Don't wait for that perfect day, perfect time. There is nothing like that.
Yeah, well said. Malthi, so tell us about SparkProd and, what are the different offerings that you have? And of course, you have your podcast. So what else? What do you do and how can our viewers reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we do have our website, sparkprod.in, and they can reach out to me from there. Largely, I would say we have like three sets of bucket. The first one that I do is work with startups. So I mainly work with early stage startups or early to mid stage startup, help them with their upskilling of their product team, helping recruit their product team, set up the operating model, clean up or finesse their product strategy, their GTM strategy, right? So work with startups to do these things. And I also work with corporates, especially, product thinking trainings, AI training. So any kind of upskilling is what we focus on. In fact, I'm starting my first B2C in-person AI PM workshop on 19th and 20th April. So that is another thing that I do. Of course, I have my engagement with academia that helps me to stay connected to the Gen Z. And the next bigger part that I have is that we do brand collaborations on our podcast. My podcast is all about products, marketing, design, everything to do with tech and physical products. So we do a lot of brand collaborations over there. So that's like the broader set of things that I do under the SparkProd Consulting.
Amazing. And Malthi, what is all of this AI buzz about? And what does it mean for entrepreneurs? What does it mean for someone building products?
See, I would say currently AI is something which is outside the body of the product, and everybody is trying to see, okay, how much can we inject into our body? But I would say in the coming year, it is going to become our bloodline.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and of course, AI comes with a lot of advantages. And today, if any company is not already in this race, they are already missing it out, because in the coming years, the way it is, the pace at which it is evolving, the technology, this is going to become bread and butter for any tech organization or any entrepreneur, right, to kind of deliver their very delightful products. So I would say focus on seeing that how you can bring AI into your product, into your offerings, because there could be definitely some, I would say, delight that you could offer, whether it could be in your revenue, this could be in your customer experience, this could be in terms of the kind of the products that you build. So look at how you can upskill yourself, your organization on that. And as I said, this is going to become table stakes in the coming year. and there are tons of resources out there. So please go figure it out what it means for your organization. What do you need to know? And not necessarily everybody needs to apply it at everywhere, but how can you leverage technology in order to have that competitive edge as compared to the market?
Amazing. And Malthi, you have 2 decades of product experience. For our viewers who are trying to launch their own products, what message would you give them? Like, what should they be thinking about when they are trying to build these products? Any tips you have for them?
I think the main thing I would say, see, AI is just a technology, right? I mean, of course, which enables you to build fast, ship fast, offer better product. But I think some of the basic connotations, which is understand your market, understand your customers. So before you go and build that product, please spend enough time understanding your market, looking at what your competition is doing. How can you build something which your customers would be willing to pay and buy? So thankfully these days we have a bunch of prototyping tools which allows you to build a quick MVP to test it out. So I would say take the time out to talk to your customers, understanding your market, build something quickly, take it, gather feedback, because that's the only way to build a product which is the right solution for the problem that you have identified. That's what I would say. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Make your hands dirty, test out those products, use those products which will help you to build something grounds up and take it to your customers. So don't sit on the fence. I think pretty much ever since I've learned about do it fast, fail fast, a lot of aspects, especially in the last 3.5 years, I have tried to build everything like a product, right? So when I started, for example, my first venture was called as Finviz. And I thought that I'm going to build some fantastic financial know-how for teenagers, right? Despite knowing all the ingredients of what it goes towards building a product, I just assumed that, there is a need out there and this is what needs to be done, and just jumped into it, right? And that is when I realized that building B2C is not easy, right? That also could be because in my past I have always built B2B products a lot. So when I started doing this, I thought that it was much more about people understanding why somebody would want to pay you. When you do not have the credibility, you are not an investor, right? So I think my biggest learning was I shut down Finviz in like 3 months of starting. But I think one of the big learnings was that you need to do a better job in doing your homework, understanding your cohorts rather than making those assumptions. So, and tons of that went into kind of putting together later the products that I built or the ventures that I did. But I would say that was a huge initial venture which I did, which taught me a lot.
Amazing. Entrepreneurs,
I think just get started. Don't wait for that perfect day, that perfect time when it is, because there is nothing like perfect day, perfect time. You have to take a calculated risk. You have to get started. So maybe start small, start exploring, start experimenting, share your ideas with others, see if there is a market out there, see if people would be interested, why people should come to you, what is your differentiator, what is the kind of support you need in order to get things done. I love the way, for example, you have done growth circle, being very nimble, take feedback, being very iterative. But I would say if you have the itch, just go for it. Don't wait for that perfect day, perfect time. There is nothing like that. The fact that my kids think that I'm their role model.
wow, that's great.
But having said that, I think the most recent one when, there was this book called Sheroes, which was published. Yeah. And somebody thought about me. So Sheroes is a book which is called Sheroes Amongst Us. It is a book about 32 women who have done exemplary well and who the author thought could be a role model for others. So Falguni, who's the author, she reached out to me last year saying that they would like to write about my story. So for me, that was like wow, am I worthy of, sharing my stories? Can I inspire others? I think this year, I think if I have to really say about my biggest achievements, it's about that.
Wow, and you are my role model as well. So. Malthi, any tools or resources you found extremely helpful as you're working on your startup, which can help our entrepreneurs? Could be AI or it could be product in general.
Yeah. See, I would say, especially, so if I have to start with AI, I would say there are tons of YouTube videos out there. I would definitely ask you to check some YouTube videos from Andrew NG. He has done AI for everyone, right? And there are tons of courses available on Microsoft and Google platforms. So definitely go for and sign up for that. Number two, I would say as an entrepreneur, there are so many founders club, there are so many communities. My suggestion would be you don't want to commit the mistakes that others have done. So go and find out what are those communities, like-minded people through social media platforms or some people around you, because that really would help you to not do mistakes which others have done. So, I mean, for me, primarily, I would say this has been my go-to places to build my learnings and make sure that I am not repeating at least what somebody has already done. So find mentors, I would say, any founders who are your mentors, because that helps in unpacking those blind spots for you.
Amazing. Malthi, any final thoughts or maybe one message you would give to your younger self, 20-year self?
I think if I have to really give final thoughts is that don't try to think about your futures like, 10 years later is what will happen. Life is short. So have a vision, have something and work towards that. And I think the most important thing is that be ready to embrace change, because I think that is the only thing which is constant. And be kind to yourself and tell yourself that my journey is not like a steep learning, straight ladder, as you said, but it is like a jungle gym. You are going to have those ups and downs. But I think it's the journey that matters. It's not really the destination. So I would say just enjoy the journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Malthi. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.